What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. If you're new around here, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. So, let's get this done. Last night in Indiana was abysmal. It was abysmal for the true conservatives. Mostly bad, but a few good results. But in reality, we did not do the best thing, and Indiana definitely needs a big change when it comes to the way their elections are run. So we're going to start off with the president. Donald Trump won with almost 80% of the vote. He won by about 60 points, or a little less than 60 points. And that was kind of expected, but Indiana is a deep red state. There's no reason for this performance to be this bad. I mean, he did horribly in Marion County, and he did horrible in the suburbs of Indiana, in Indy. Then if we go to how Joe Biden was uncontested, Jim Banks, while uncontested, still won, and he is going to be an upgrade over Mike Braun in the governor's mansion, and Mike Braun's headed to the governor's office, and then Jim Banks is going to be the next senator. While Jim Banks would have been better off primarying Todd Young over Mike Braun, he would have been a big upgrade if that was the case, instead of just a lateral move. Now anyway, Governor Mike Braun, he significantly underperformed compared to expectations. Polls were showing he was going to get about 44% of the vote, but unfortunately, Suzanne Crouch and Brad Chambers managed to take away a bunch of the vote, so that way he wouldn't reach that. And we're going to get to that in a minute, because there's a lot of good information to know, because I'm seeing on Twitter, the Twitter foes out there consistently saying that, oh, it's gloom and doom for Indiana and Trump is DOA and all that other stuff. We'll get to that in a little while. But for now, this is when you start getting into the disappointing stuff. Mesmer, a Main Street-backed Republican, won. In District 3, Stutzman won. That was probably the only good result. Same goes for Spartz. That was also a solidly good result. Then Eric Holcomb won. That was no surprise. But up here, I don't exactly know who was in these seats. But in Mesmer's seat, this is Greg Pence's seat. There's no reason we just go from Greg Pence, who is already bad as is, to this bozo, Mark Mesmer, a Main Street-backed Republican. And we're going to get into all of this. The state legislature was truly a mixed bag. There's not really much to talk about here, but I just thought I'd mention that there were a couple of incumbents that got taken out. In the 13th, for example, I don't know if there were any more incumbents besides that were taken out. I didn't really look through these results that much. But we're going to get onto this. Why did this happen? Now, I don't want to see in the comments, oh, gloom and doom for 2024. Well, in reality, the truth is, this was an open primary, and Democrats were crossing over. And I have legit proof to show you why, and I'm going to pull up Twitter with some photos and show you exactly what I'm talking about, because there is something interesting to analyze. So here we go. On X, if we look over here on the far right photo, it says even Democrats can vote in the Republican primary. They had billboards up in Indiana, the type of billboards that you would usually see on the highway, telling Democrats to vote in the Republican primary for these rhino bozos that we ended up with in a bunch of these districts. If it weren't for these rhinos, or if the primaries were closed, for example, John Hostetler would be a congressman, a big upgrade over Pence, who's leaving the district. Eric Holcomb he won, but he won by a good margin. Shreve would not, actually this is Pence's seat. Shreve is a downgrade from Pence. Mike Speedy would have been a phenomenal congressman, guaranteed. And if we had that district, and if this was a closed primary, Mike Speedy would have won. Let's take a look at this district here, District 6. Mike Speedy. I mean, a bunch of people were splitting the MAGA vote here. if we all got behind Mike Speedy, we could have taken out Jefferson Shreve. Now, there's more to this. I'm starting to think in Indiana, we should have a runoff system. I know, I don't like runoffs, but in a state like this, in a situation like this is where runoffs are useful. I don't think it should be 50%. I think it should be more like 30% for runoffs, just like what North Carolina does. North Carolina, if you get under 30%, you get forced into a runoff. It's that simple. And we should implement that in this state as well. In all honesty, I would rather have a method of a convention because it would narrow the choices down to just 2, and then we would be forced to get behind either candidate. But unfortunately, I don't think we will have conventions in Indiana anytime soon, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, Baird won, that was kind of expected, and a whole bunch of others, but overall, a very bad night in the representatives. But let's talk about Mike Braun. He was able to, even with crossover voting, if you look at Marion County, this is where Indianapolis is located. Mike Braun almost won Marion County. It's true. It's factual. However, Democrats were crossing over for Brad Chambers to put him over the top in that county. And if we take a look at the results on the Democrat primary, which I'm going to pull up as well real quick, we don't have any on the Times because he was uncontested, but I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, yeah, I know CNN, not the most conservative, but Marion County, Joe Biden got 35,000 votes. If we look at Chambers and Crouch, they combined for about 22,000 votes. If we take a look at the Republican primary here, however, Nikki Haley wound up with 15,000 votes, just to prove Democrats were in fact crossing over due to the lack of contest and the fact that people were going out there telling people to meddle in our primaries so that way we could put the rhinos over the top in a lot of these districts. It happened. It really did happen. And I'm sick and tired of these rhinos being put over the top by the Democrat losers that we have in the Republican Party, which is how we end up with losers in the first place. I mean, Indiana is a safe red state. We don't need rhinos. We only want the best of the best congressmen that we can possibly get. So that means no more Shreve, no more Mesmer. We want more Marlins, and we want more Bankses. Essentially, that's what we should focus for. Jim Banks is going to be phenomenal, and Mike Braun is going to be a good governor. But aside from that, I really don't know how to comprehend these results. They were just outright awful for Republicans, for the conservatives, and all the others. Now, I'm not saying this is all gloom and doom, that everything is finished. We're going to continue to get more and more good results as we continue on. We've got Nebraska, West Virginia. I think Georgia's also next week. We got a whole nother slate of primaries coming up for the presidency and the legislature. So we're going to have to see exactly what happens and how it all turns out. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new around here, please make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any new videos. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day.